ABZU comes from Mesopotamian mythology and roughly translates to the Ocean of Wisdom. Now it's an exploration game too from many of the creators behind 2012's Journey. In ABZU, players take on the role of a female diver exploring deeper and deeper into the ocean in order to uncover her purpose and the story of her past. ABZU was announced at E3 2014, but this year, E3 attendees got to go hands-on with the game and talk to its creators at indie studio Giant Squid. Creative director Matt Nava and Brian Balamut are both scuba divers, but are quick to say that ABZU isn't a scuba diving simulator. Their experience of diving, however, is that all of the instruments and gauges immediately disappear when you hit the water. When you're underwater, none of that matters, so ABZU strips you of all that weight. Like Journey's floaty jump, there's a wonderful sense of freedom and grace to the diver's movement underwater. The diver's rotation isn't pitch-locked and you can do full loops and turns. It can be a little disorienting and difficult to get used to at first, making sure you're the right way up and turning in the right direction, but once you've had a few minutes to grow accustomed to it, it's actually very empowering and you can perform some very elegant moves on screen once you stop tangling yourself up in kelp. Mind you, that's easier said than done when the kelp forests are dynamic and react to the diver and larger creatures that swim through them. In most games that allow you to explore underwater, you have an air gauge. I always find that pretty stressful. You're always looking for the next air pocket or oxygen tank instead of enjoying the scenery, and the environment itself, by its very nature, becomes your enemy. Here, there is no timer counting down. The world is something to be enjoyed and celebrated rather than feared. You can peek your head above the surface from time to time, but the game is squarely focused on the ocean rather than our world. Speaking of danger though, you can't die in ABZU. There's no point at which you'll get a game over screen and have to replay anything. Nava said that this was because they wanted to create a timeline that was completely unbroken and continuous. There will still be tension for players, but it'll manifest itself in different ways. All of the fish in the game are based on real fish from around the world. During the demo, I was able to hitch a ride on Goliath groupers, manta rays, and sea turtles. You can guide them very subtly or just hang on and see where they take you. These interactions with other creatures were designed, Nava says, to be non-violent and respectful. You can press a button to school with larger groups of fish to swim faster, for example. My diver and the mechanical drones she can find and activate along the way also repeatedly ran into a great white shark. Great whites, Nava says, are too often represented as one-dimensional killers, and so ABZU wants to explore different facets of their personalities. In fact, Nava says the relationship with the great white shark becomes key to the diver's story, and though he doesn't explain why or how, at one point during the demo we come across an underwater room filled with ruins and partially destroyed statues of sharks, so it's possible this will come into play somehow later on in the game. Grammy-nominated composer for Journey, Austin Wintory, is working on ABZU, and the developers admit his score has an escalating effect on the game's design, in that, as with Journey, his score is being composed alongside the game as it's being developed. Often, the team will get a piece of music through for approval and be inspired to make the area more beautiful in order to match the tone or scale of the music. Derek Cornish, ABZU's graphics engineer, told me at E3 that the project first began life 2 years ago with just Nava working on it, but the full team wasn't assembled until the very start of 2015. Even now, the full team is still very small, around 10 or so people, with a few of them having worked on that game company's Journey, Flow or Flower. Although the diver and the drone she can collect communicate with a sonar ping in a manner similar to the way players could in Journey's multiplayer, Cornish confirmed that ABZU is strictly a single-player experience. ABZU is coming to PS4 and PC in 2016, and as a big fan of Journey, I can't wait to see what the team do with it. It'll be a short, emotionally driven experience which the team say will be less than 8 hours long but more than 1 hour, and they reckon it'll feel bigger compared to the scope of Journey. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Microsoft conference, there were a couple of great ones. So like standout for me, probably for the whole show, was Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
the
so
Rare game.
this is it's just so nice to see Rare actually doing a game that I really want to play.
Yeah.
Which they didn't talk about Connect once.